y'all, how's it going? Today I wanted to look back at my 2020 goals that I wrote in what used to be my bullet journal, but now has just become a graveyard for my hopes and dreams. Yeah, so me being a person who is notoriously bad at planning, I actually wrote out my goals in February of this year. So I didn't even manage to get it done in January. But yeah, I just want to look back and see how 2020 failed, or how I want to look back and see how 2020 may have kept me from achieving some of my goals, and how it may have helped me a little bit achieving some of them. So yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, so like I said, this is my failed bullet journal. I have at the beginning here that I wrote out in February, my 2020 goals. So I'm just gonna read them out to you guys and take off what I did complete and reflect on what I didn't, and maybe why I didn't complete some of my goals. I broke it down into two columns essentially. I have a what I want column and then what I have to do to get it column. And that was me just trying to make it as clear cut as possible. But yeah, so my first goal is to leave Buffalo, which I did. And what I had to do to get it was to save a lot of money and spend less money. So I didn't end up saving a lot of money because I quit my job in April and ended up working from home and trying to make money off of selling masks and drawings and whatnot, and then had to move to Alabama very quickly for personal reasons. So I did end up leaving Buffalo. That goal was achieved. I just didn't happen to do it on my own terms necessarily. Yeah, so that's one goal checked off. The second goal is to travel. And in parentheticals here, I have make at least 2 trips. And what I had to do to get it was save money, spend less, similar to my previous goal, and then pick a place and plan a trip / make a budget. Yeah, so living in Buffalo, I was adjacent to a lot of major cities: Philadelphia, Boston, New York City, Toronto. And I only ever went to New York City, and that was because I had a show there. I never got my passport and traveled to Toronto. And this wasn't because of a lack of motivation on my part or on my partner's part. It was more we just never took the steps necessary to plan. At any time, either of us would have been oh yeah, that sounds like a fun thing to do, but then we never took the initiative to make it a concrete reality, which is something I wanted to work on. But obviously 2020 and the whole pandemic thing made traveling impossible, so I can say with certainty that that goal was not achieved. Unless you count me moving to Alabama as travel. I did travel over 1,000 miles, Okay, next goal is do a residency. So if you guys aren't familiar, residencies for artists or writers are essentially retreats where you can go. Sometimes it's paid for, sometimes you have to pay for it. I was looking for an all expenses paid residency. So you go off to this place, usually it's isolated. Sometimes you're amongst a community of artists where you can form relationships with a bunch of people. So it's kind of like a miniature school where you're meeting with curators, meeting with other artists, doing studio visits, and making work uninterrupted. And this has been one of my goals for a while. What I laid out as far as like what I needed to do to reach that goal was to apply to at least 3 residencies a month and save money and spend less. So again, lost my job in April. Wasn't really able to save money. And because of the nature of 2020 and like how it affected the art world, I wasn't really showing my work at all this year. I don't have any shows that I added to my resume. I did get an emergency grant. That's about it. So I feel like I've been in a strange identity crisis place where I'm like trying to figure out where I want my work to go next. And I have been spending a lot of time in the studio, but not as much time applying for things as I should have. And a lot of that's fear-based. So I think that's something I could work on for 2021 is like accepting my fear and like letting it wash over me, and, like fully feeling my fear and being like, okay, cool, but I still want to do these things even though I'm scared. So my next goal here is to get a new job and eventually adjunct. I didn't do that. What I have to do to get it is apply to at least 3 jobs a month, teaching or otherwise, and then teach in a non-university setting, like a teaching artist at like a gallery or a nonprofit. Can be helpful to add to your resume if you're interested in teaching. Once again, I didn't do any of these things. Mostly it's because of the pandemic and, adjuncting became so much of an impossibility because so many positions were being cut, because universities were losing money, like bleeding money, because so many people were dropping out or taking a semester off because of the pandemic. But also, it's a fear thing. So I think 2021, let's once again work on accepting the fear. Huh? Can we do that? Okay. Next goal, have at least 1 solo show, 3 group shows. And what I have to do to get it, apply to open calls, at least 1 a month, and then make new work. So I did succeed in making new work, I can say that confidently. I haven't really applied to a whole lot of open calls. And I did not have any shows or group shows. And honestly, like, if my career was continuing on the path that it was prior to the pandemic, I probably would have fulfilled these goals, which is like very frustrating to think about. But I'm sure a lot of people are in that position right now. So I'm not alone in that, for sure. If 2020 hadn't have gone the way that it did, then maybe I would have been doing okay. I can't say that. And there's not really any point in me like thinking of hypotheticals of like, what if the pandemic hadn't happened? Because, so many people would still be alive. Like, there's no point in me thinking that way, I guess, because there are people that have suffered much more than me from this, so me not having a solo show this year is fine. Okay, and then the last goal that I've written here is to win a grant, and what I have to do to get it, apply for 1 grant a month. I did get a grant this year, and it was an emergency grant from the Albright Knox, which is a well-known gallery in Buffalo, pretty much just a museum. I was awarded an emergency grant that's long since gone, been used on essentials. I think shortly after I got that grant, I had to leave Buffalo suddenly, so yeah. And then I have more goals that I've written out on the next couple pages here, so we can take a look at those. So I've got, this isn't broken down into the columns like before, but I've got here, read 24 books this year, which was quite a lofty goal for me because in the past have been really bad about reading. I love reading. I think maybe my relationship with it has shifted a little bit since going to graduate school, and it's become more of a like research-based thing rather than something for enjoyment. But because of all of the time that I've had this year at home with my thoughts, I have read a lot more than I have in the past, but I ended up reading 13 books instead of 24, which I changed my goal shortly after on Goodreads to 12 books, so I did meet my goal that I set on Goodreads, but not on here. But yeah, so I'm working on creating more balance in my reading habits so that I'm not only reading like dense theory, but also like interesting fiction books. So if I get tired of the dense theory, instead of just not reading, I read something that's more for pleasure. I'm getting a good rhythm for that and reading a lot more, which I'm glad for. So that is one thing that 2020 has given me. The next goal is spend more time in the studio, which is another thing that I was able to do because I lost my job in April. And was working really hard to try and make a living off of my studio practice. And honestly, like, my depression gets in the way a lot of times, and also the fear thing again. But I have established a regular studio practice, which is something I'm really proud of. But now I'm kind of at the point where like I've produced a good amount of new work, and I need to like go all in and start applying for things daily, and looking for like open calls and residency deadlines, all of that good stuff. Because like if I'm not putting myself out there, then like what am I doing? I'm just like a hobbyist essentially. Yeah, so I spent more time in the studio. I just need to apply for things more. Let's see, another goal was to learn one new process. And I would say I did do that in making my videos, my YouTube videos. I didn't know how to edit videos before. I wasn't familiar with any video editing software. I'd never filmed myself regularly. So I would say that that's a new process, and it's been really fun and kind of has helped me think more deeply about the things that I'm doing, because I have to talk to you guys about it and like kind of defend myself every time I make a video. So yeah. Another goal was to return to screen printing. I didn't do that. I may have told you guys, but my undergraduate degree is in printmaking, and screen printing was my favorite thing to do as a printmaker, and I really miss it, but I haven't done it in 6 years maybe. So I think when I wrote this, probably my goal was to like reconnect with my graduate school's print lab monitor and try and get access to the labs again and re-immerse myself in screen printing. But now that I'm back in Alabama, I have the opportunity, once vaccines are widely distributed and I feel safe going on campus, I have the opportunity to go to my undergraduate campus, which is kind of a trek from where I'm living currently, probably like an hour's drive. I do feel more comfortable in those print facilities because that's where I learned to do printmaking. I never practiced printmaking except for monotypes at my graduate program, so I was always really scared of using their fancy facilities. But again, the fear thing keeps cropping up, This is the theme of a lot of the problems that keep me from doing the things that I want to do. It's me being scared and giving that feeling too much value. I'm hoping to reconnect with some of my professors from my undergraduate and use their print facilities and maybe eventually set up something where I'm living currently. So, next goal is to make unique items to sell for extra money. I have in parentheticals scrunchies, patchwork shirts, pillows, embroidered custom clothes. So I did do that, just not enough, I think. I need to like make that a more regular thing that I'm releasing stuff in my shop. But I, made scrunchies and they sold okay, and then I did my collage shirts, which I showed you guys in my last video, and those sell pretty well. But I only release things once every couple of weeks or once every couple of months, which, that in-between time people just forget about me, which is fine, and totally understandable. I need to, if I want people to remember that I'm selling things, I need to constantly remind them by making new things to sell. So I think I did succeed in producing unique items. I just need to increase my regularity. Spend more time outside. No, I didn't do that. I would say that's still a goal for me though, because I especially because of COVID, don't leave my house. And kind of feel like I'm in a fishbowl most of the time. So I would say I do need to do that. Next goal, quit smoking. Yeah, I need to do that also, but because of all of the stress that I've been under this year and all of the extreme lifestyle changes, that has been the thing that I've clung to as my ultimate coping mechanism. So yeah, we're gonna work on that for 2021. Let's see, next goal, focus less on badness, look for good stuff. I'm trying all the time, but that's still a thing I need to work on. Next goal, work out more because it makes me feel good, helps me to manage my anxiety better, which is true. I've been pretty good about doing yoga and stuff. It helps with my joints because I have bad joints, but we have a folding stationary bike, and it always makes me feel a lot better to do that every day. It gets my endorphins going. I'm not interested at all in losing weight or trying to reach some body goal. I'm okay with myself and do not feel any negative feelings toward my body and want to change it. But I do like the effect that exercise has on my brain. So that is something I want to get back into as well. Not necessarily something I succeeded in this past year. I did do yoga fairly regularly, but the bicycling, I fell off, so that's fine. Let's see, the next one is to do my best to consume ethically, but if I'm unable to do so, and it greatly prolongs me getting the thing, then I can just buy it new. It's okay, you're not a bad dude. Which is a really long, that's not really a goal, but it is me kind of trying to reason with myself because I will put off not getting something, not buying something new for years. Because I feel so guilty buying things from big box stores, like Target or Amazon. So yeah, I will not buy pants or not buy new underwear because I don't want to participate in fast fashion or whatever, but it's I'm causing myself to suffer because of that goal. So it's another thing I need to work on. I did buy a pair of pants this year and they're great pants, but they're fast fashion pants. They're falling apart and I'm oh yeah, this is why people don't buy fast fashion, because it's trash. But I still wear the pants even though the threads are slowly falling out of the seams. And then I have this next page that says even more, and all it says is get health insurance. I did not do that. I did not get health insurance. I'm so bad at administrative stuff, like paperwork, calling people, figuring out how to do things, asking people for help, all of these things. Oh, I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at it. And that's okay that I'm bad at it, but also I avoid it like the plague. And that keeps me from having health insurance. I haven't had health insurance since I was 26. I have started flossing though. I floss every day and I do mouthwash every day, which is like me 4 years ago when I'd been like, no, you're lying. She does not do that. But I floss every day because I'm so scared that I haven't been to the dentist for so long that I figure that's the only thing I can do to take care of my teeth. Anyway, that is a thing that I need to do. I need to break down each individual step so it doesn't seem like such a big ominous cloud of like, you don't have health insurance, you need to get health insurance. Instead I need to be like, okay, look on the website, see what it's about, call the people, like break it down step by step to see if hopefully that will make it seem more manageable to me. But yeah, that is it for my 2020 goals. I mean, I would say before the pandemic started, I was like on the right track. I applied for the NIFA grant. I was applying for, I mean, we can look at my calendar here. I applied for a solo show at a Buffalo gallery. I applied for several residencies. Like, I was doing these like breakdowns of the books I was gonna read and the residencies I applied for and the jobs and the grants, like all this stuff that I got done. But then you can see here in March, I just blocked out all of those goals with coronavirus because it just threw me into total crisis mode. Like losing my job, trying to figure out how I was gonna even survive. But I think that's most people, you know, like not everybody got their goals done this year, and like next year is not gonna be perfect either. And so I think now it's gonna be more about figuring out the ways to overlook like negative emotions and negative self-talk, like to experience it and to learn techniques for seeing past it, because I can't continue to live in fear anymore. It is keeping me from succeeding, keeping me from doing the best that I could do, keeping me from living the best life that I possibly can. So yeah, 2021 is all about rejecting fear, like seeing it, accepting it, but ignoring it also. So yeah, let me know what your guys' goals for 2020 were. If you got any done, what your goals for 2021 might be. I might try and make this into a bullet journal again, because honestly, I need to plan out my days better, and I think I could use my time more efficiently, and maybe this sort of like manual bullet journaling will help with that. But yeah, with that, I think that concludes the video. Be kind to yourselves and be patient, as I will try to do. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I might do a planning video for 2021, like some kind of goals thing. And until then, I will see you guys next year. Happy New Year. Bye.